Welcome to KET's News Quiz. I'm your host, Kelsey Starks. Welcome to March. Spring is around the corner. Are you ready? Well, let's spring into today's challenge question. Think animals. What is the name for mammals who keep their young in pouches? There are several species like this, including kangaroos, wallabies, and wombats. Their babies, called joeys, spend a lot of their young life in mom's pouch. Can you think of it? What is the name for mammals who keep their young in pouches? We'll have that answer for you after the news. U.S. President Joe Biden is vowing to defend NATO countries near Russia after a surprise trip to Ukraine. The president secretly traveled 20 hours by plane and train to Kyiv, Ukraine, where he pledged U.S. support ahead of the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion. After that, the president attended a meeting with the NATO Bucharest Nine, or B9, in Poland. The Bucharest Nine is a group of 9 NATO countries to the west of Russia that are all allies of the U.S. as part of NATO. NATO stands for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, an organization of countries that agree to defend each other and promote democracy around the world. In Peru, an international tourist attraction is finally open again, even though protests against the government continue. Peru is a South American country that sits on the Pacific coast in the northwestern part of the continent. It includes part of the Amazon rainforest and Machu Picchu, an ancient Incan city in the Andes Mountains. Lima is the country's capital. Machu Picchu closed in January because protesters blocked the train tracks leading to the area. Some tourists had to be rescued by helicopter from the attraction. The protests have been going on for months because many of Peru's citizens want a new leader for their country, a new Congress, and a new constitution. Blocking the train tracks to Machu Picchu was just one of the ways they hope to gain attention for their cause. Time now for the first part of today's quiz. Questions 1 and 2 are about the president's secret visit to Ukraine. Question 1. The military alliance of countries promoting worldwide democracy is called A. American Alliance, B. NATO, or C. International Military. Question 2 is true or false. The Bucharest Nine are countries that are allies of the U.S. Is that statement true or false? Questions 3 and 4 are about Peru's protests. Question 3. Locate Peru on the map. Is it at point A, B, or C? And question 4. The tourist attraction that closed due to the protests was A. Machu Picchu, B. The Amazon rainforest, or C. The Lima district. Back to the news. We've been watching some weather extremes over the past week. In the northern U.S., there were record snowfalls. Places like Southern California that don't normally get snow actually saw the powdery white stuff falling from the skies. Portland, Oregon was paralyzed by several feet of snow, and Michigan was hit with an ice storm that knocked out power to nearly 500,000 people. Blizzard warnings prompted thousands of canceled flights and slow or no moving traffic on highways. Meanwhile, in the South, many cities experienced record high temperatures. Lexington, Kentucky recorded 78 degrees on February 22nd. That's the highest in a century. Astronomers have discovered 6 new galaxies dating back to within 600 million years of the Big Bang. The new images are from the James Webb Space Telescope, which used infrared technology to pinpoint the previously undiscovered galaxies. Scientists say these galaxies are massive, about 30 times smaller than our own, but contain just as many stars. Each star weighs billions of times more than our sun. Astronomers say it is the first look at the earliest formation of our universe. Well, students who read using braille may soon have new technology to make it even easier. Braille is a system of raised dots that can be read with fingers of people who are blind or have low vision. To translate all of the content and graphics in just one textbook to braille usually takes an entire library of books. Well, the American Printing House for the Blind in Louisville, Kentucky creates all the educational materials for blind people in the U.S. They have developed a Braille tablet called the Monarch. It's like an iPad for Braille readers, allowing them to easily navigate through more content. Prototypes for the new device are being tested in classrooms right now. We'll think about those stories as we head into the second part of today's quiz. Question 5 is having temperature swings. Record high temperatures were recorded in A, Lexington, Kentucky, B, Los Angeles, California, or C, both A and B. Question 6 is out of this world. New images from space are showing scientists new A, stars, B, galaxies, or C, planets. And question 7 is reading things differently. The system of raised dots that blind people use to read is called A, artificial intelligence, B, Monarch, or C, Braille. A furniture design fair in Sweden is focusing on sustainability and helping our planet. Vendors at the Stockholm Design Fair are showing guests how different materials can affect our planet. Some of the displays reflect the use of greener options like rattan or wood instead of man-made materials like stainless steel. Others are promoting recycling, proving that many items can be reused to create helpful materials instead of being pitched into landfills. A new study says dogs can understand more than you think. The research out of Austria tested 96 different dogs of different breeds by withholding treats. Now, some dogs were teased by humans with a treat that was just out of reach, and other humans accidentally dropped or seemed to forget the treat. The study found the dogs who were teased were more impatient and would give up sooner than the dogs who seemed to understand the humans' actions were unintentional. The scientists say the behavior study shows evidence that dogs can distinguish between intentions or what the human meant to do, even when the outcome is the same. And in Florida, a dozen manatees, or sea cows, have been released into the wild after months of rehabilitation. Most of the manatees were rescued from an area that didn't provide enough food for them. The Indian River Lagoon is a popular gathering place for the animals, but water pollution has wiped out the seagrass that manatees eat there. The sea cows were taken in by several zoos, aquariums, and research locations where they were well fed and nursed back to health. In fact, you may have visited Albee, Manhattan, or Swim Shady while they were cared for at the Cincinnati Zoo. To be released back into the wild, the manatees had to be at least 600 pounds. Now let's release the final part of today's quiz. Question 8 is about greener designs. The Stockholm Fair focuses on A, furniture, B, vehicles, or C, farming. Question 9 means well. The behavior study found that dogs can understand human A, emotions, B, intentions, or C, language. And question 10 is back in the wild. Sea cows are also known as A, seals, B, dolphins, or C, manatees. Got all your answers marked? Let's take a little break to read some of your opinion answers. All of today's answers come from 4th graders. Let's check them out. Ryland attends Margaret Ross Elementary in Hopewell, Pennsylvania, and wants to experience historic events. I would like to be a character in any of the I Survived books because I think it would be cool to go back and live through some of the major events in our history. Now, Amelia from Roosevelt Elementary in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, is adventurous. I would be the cunning, courageous main character in a book that goes on a dangerous quest, and I'm forced to go on the quest with my enemies. But eventually, I make friends with my enemies. Sounds like a good book. Raiden goes to Collins Elementary in Boone County, Kentucky, and also has a survival quest. I would like to be in Hatchet because I want to try and survive in the Canadian woods and see what it was like for Brian. Arisha is a student at Lexington Universal Academy in Lexington, Kentucky with a familiar thought. I would like to be Ramona in Beezus and Ramona because she is so free and funny and has lots of imagination. Yes, she does. And Zoe writes from McNeil Elementary in Bowling Green, Kentucky, saying, I would be Agnes from Agnes Parker, Girl in Progress, because I think Agnes had fun experiences that I would like to do myself. I also like how she reacts calmly to bad situations, and I would like to be able to do that a little better. All great and fun choices there. So if you haven't sent us your opinion yet, we still want to hear from you. Tell us, in which book would you like to be a character? Maybe you'd like to join Harry Potter at Hogwarts, or how about catching up with Curious George? That would be an adventure. Tell us what book you would like to appear in. Send your letters to us via email at newsquiz@ket.org or use the form at ket.org/newsquiz. Be sure to include your name, grade, school, and teacher's name in your response. Now, if you choose a book about animals, you probably know the answer to our challenge question. Marsupials are the kind of animals that carry their young in their pouches. Australia is home to a number of marsupial species. Since the pandemic, some of these critters have become more accustomed to crossing land and roadways because there were fewer people out and about. Well, now some Australians are reminding drivers in particular to be on the lookout. Signs featuring slow down and cute pictures of wombats are showing up along Aussie roadways. And here's the rest of today's answers. The answer to question 1 is B. NATO is that military alliance. The answer to question 2 is true. The Bucharest Nine, or B9, are U.S. allies. The answer to question 3 is B. Peru is located at B on the map. The answer to question 4 is A. Machu Picchu has now reopened. The answer to question 5 is also A. Lexington, Kentucky reached a record high on February 22nd. The answer to question 6 is B. New galaxies may have been seen. The answer to question 7 is C. Braille is the raised dot system for the visually impaired. The answer to question 8 is A. Sustainable furniture is the focus at the Stockholm Fair. The answer to question 9 is B. Good human intentions can be recognized by dogs. And the answer to question 10 is C. Manatees are also known as sea cows. And in Brazil, it is time for Carnival. We talked about this celebration last week. Festivals happen all over the world, leading up to a more somber time around the religious observances of Lent and Easter. One of the largest and most colorful Carnival celebrations is in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The parade is considered the world's largest and includes floats, intricate costumes, and samba dancers. Let's parade on out of here. We'll see you here next week for more News Quiz. Bye.